Hi everyone, Simon Chapple here. I'm the Quit Alcohol Coach, and this week I'm joined by Tina von Sachs, who was a former heavy drinker and now has become a sobriety coach, helping other people quit drinking. Hi Tina, thanks for joining me.
Simon, thanks for having me.
I'm
Super
very
excited
excited
to be
to have
here.
you here. And you're in Las Vegas, aren't you? Baking hot there.
I am in Las Vegas. It is baking hot. I think it's about to be 115 today in Fahrenheit, so that's about 40 Celsius, or over 40 Celsius actually.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
super hot. I have my fan blowing on me here.
That's crazy. So
Yeah,
I'm excited for you to join me and share a little
thank
bit
you.
about your story and find out how you've gone from drinking, I don't know if it was daily or binge drinking, we'll find out more about that, to
Yeah.
becoming a sobriety coach, which is what happened on my own journey as well. Would you perhaps share your story, like where it started, the drinking, and how you moved into sobriety and quitting?
Yeah, so thank you again for having me. I'm really so excited to be here. And you know, it's been a long journey. I have been a heavy drinker for probably 35 years. So I started, I would say, in my early teenage years. I grew up in Germany. So, you know, German culture is a drinking culture. It's just normal, you know, to have a beer with lunch, to have, even at work, you know, when I was working in Germany, it was allowed to have a big beer, a big stein for lunch, and then go back to work after. So it tells you how ingrained it is in the culture. And that's, you know, how it started. Teenage years, drinking here, drinking with friends, legal drinking, age of 16. So it's just normal as a group of teenagers to go out and drink. And I have to say, though, thinking back, I was never able to just have one, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know the
almost
feeling.
right? It's like almost instantly I was the last one to leave the party. I was usually the one that people had to bring home, or that did crazy things, you know, all the stories the next day. And then, but it was normal to me, so I didn't think anything of it. And it kept going over the years. And then when I was about 27, I moved to America. I decided that I just wanted to experience something different. So I immigrated into America. I got a student visa and I started a job in Los Angeles. And I think that was a big move because I didn't know anybody. I left everything behind
Yeah,
I knew.
wow.
Right. So, yeah, and that's when I met my friends, and nothing bad, but again, more drinking. You know, we're at the beach, so you have the party scene every weekend, and the drinking just escalated to the point where I had probably, I would say, a bottle of wine every night, and then sometimes a bottle of wine before I go out, and then more drinks. So a lot of dangerous situations being a girl by myself. And that's, you know, how I met my husband. Actually, ironically, we went to a Oktoberfest in Los Angeles, and I had so many beers that I didn't even remember meeting him. but he remembered. So we were like texting and emailing for 6 months, and I didn't even know what he looked like.
Yeah, who
So
is this guy?
so who is this person, right? But I liked him because, you know, we had just great communication over email. So then I met him, and then, you know, fast forward, got married, had kids. I would say I never drank during my pregnancies. I have 3 boys, so I never did that. But with every kid, I would drink more after, you know. And I think it had to do with being lonely a little bit because my family is in Germany. And just, it was just a habit, you know. The kids are home. I was always working, but after work, you know, just as a way to de-stress, I would say. Just drink. I still didn't think anything of it, even though I passed out a few times, even with my kids in my lap when they were little. It was still nothing that I thought was not normal, you know? Weird thinking back like that. But then I think it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we moved to Vegas, and Vegas was just, I think that's when everything just went to, you know, to hell, really. Because you have bars 24/7, gambling. I started going to bars. That was my escape from home. I started drinking and gambling. Lots of things, you know, happened that I'm not proud of. And that's when I think realized for the first time really that there's a problem, right? That I do things that hurt my family, that hurt myself, but still I didn't stop. That's I tried to moderate. I tried to only drink certain types of alcohol. I tried to not drink for 2 weeks. I went to a church group seeing if they can help me. And then a few years ago, I really started looking more seriously. I went to one AA meeting. I did not like it. I went to a therapist who was an alcohol counselor, but she never had a drink in her life. So it was hard for me to relate to her. And she really couldn't relate to me at all. She would give me, advice that clearly she meant well, but she couldn't relate to what I was going through at all. Then I went to a 12-step program, didn't work. So then I kind of gave up a little bit. I'm like, okay, that's just how it is. And I always felt that it's just me, that I'm the only one that is like that. I was really functioning very well. I had a good position. I raised my kids okay. And it wasn't until I had 3 things happen at once, which my husband had a massive heart attack where I was told that he would not make it.
Wow.
So I was going into the hospital, I was watching the doctors reviving him over 30 times, and eventually he made it, but it was, 3 months of ICU. Were very, very traumatic. At the same time, I lost my house and I lost my job. So it was all 3 things coming together, where I really spiraled down even more. You would think but you would think that, I needed to be there for my kids with my husband, but I wasn't. When he was in the ER, I was drinking the most, and I was not available for my children at all to help them with what they were going through, which was very traumatic for them. It wasn't until one night in December where I, after many attempts from friends, close friends, and my husband and my oldest son telling me, Mom, please, you need to stop. It was that one night in December when I went out with a friend, we were drinking, and I purposely ran every red light going home with the intent of either, doing harm to myself or somebody else. Not so much somebody else, but more myself, because I was in such a dark place that I just didn't want to be here anymore. And I often drove during blackouts and never knew, how I came home, whatever. But this was the moment where for some reason, it was like an out of body experience. I was watching myself doing it, driving through those red lights.
Right.
And something in that moment clicked, and I just knew if I don't change now, I will die. I will end up dead. My kids won't have a mom. And, is that how I want to be remembered? And no. So throughout those years leading up to that day, I had read a lot of books already, Annie's book, your book, and I just did some work, I guess, subconsciously that already probably started working while I was still drinking. But once I made that final decision, it was just, I knew I couldn't go back. So then I did the real work, journaling, listening to podcasts, like you say that a lot. You study almost like you study for an exam, right?
Yeah, right.
So really, that keep preparing every 3 minutes I had, and I finally kicked it, and now I'm helping others.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
There's so much more to the story, but I don't want to just keep going, but.
It's amazing. Like when you were talking about running through those red lights, it was like I felt like a tingle up my spine of sort of fear of just imagining you doing that. It's just, God, they're so powerful. How to get to that place where that felt like what you had to do, because everything just felt so hopeless.
Yeah, alcohol, and when you're in that trap, I feel you don't see it. You don't see. It's almost like this darkness just surrounds your soul, right? And it puts you down into that deep spot, and you can't see that there's a way out. And now I know too that alcohol fuels depression, but when you're not aware of it, you just think something is really wrong with you, that you can't be happy, you can't feel anything, you can't see anything good really when you're in that hole. And so what most people do, and what I did, and you probably too, is you drink again, right? Because you don't want to feel that feeling, and then you get down, you get lower. And I just feel that the thing with alcohol is so sneaky because you can drink for, I dropped 35 years. I drank really heavily, and I was fine, you know, maybe the first 20 years, I would say, but it creeps up on you. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're in it. That's what's so sneaky about this drug. And you get really to dark places. There were a lot of moments where I just thought, I can't do it anymore. I don't know how to get out. And I don't want anybody else to feel that way. And that's why, even when I was my worst, I did a life coach certification. I had my very best friend, I guess she saw the desperation in me, but she knew me from very early childhood on. And she paid for my life coach certification because she said, Tina, you have it in you. You can help so many people, and I believe in you. So she paid like $19,000 for me to go to that school.
Wow.
And while I was going through that school, I was drinking so much. And I was so conflicted, like, how can I be? And I knew deep down that I wanted to help people, but I couldn't help people until I helped myself. You know, there's no way to do that. So yeah, I just feel it doesn't have to be so painful. People don't have to feel alone or live with that shame and guilt. You know, we have to, especially as women and moms, especially, we have to pretend we have it, everything is great and we have it all together, but you don't.
Totally. And you mostly work with women, don't you?
Yeah, I yes, almost exclusively with women. I just happen to relate to women who have a career, who have children, and because, like I said, as a woman, you have to be that certain person, or maybe we don't have to, but when we grow up, we are taught to be a certain way, to act a certain way. You know, you have to be strong for your family, and you have to be a mom. You don't get a break. It's 24/7, but then you also have a job, right? So it's all demanding, and somewhere we do need an outlet too. And we're bombarded by advertising day in, day out, how great it is to just have a little glass of wine and relax with your friends. And that's the tough part, because it's so socially accepted, but nobody talks about how it puts women and their children into despair, and how kids just don't even have their moms available. Even I was sitting on the couch drinking my glass. I wasn't there for my children. I didn't hear what they were saying. I didn't even look at them, you know, like really connect with them, because it's not possible. All you care about is the drink, and you want to just keep feeling numb. So
I totally relate to that. I felt like I was an absent father. I was here in body, but not in mind when I was drinking.
Yeah, exactly. And the kids, you know, the older they are, they know. You know, my oldest had a really heart-to-heart with me, and when I was drinking, I wasn't a great mom. I was yelling. I was accusing him, especially, you know, of doing things he never did. So and he's such a good kid, right? So it's really heartbreaking to now hear how your children saw you back then. And I never knew how aware they really, even my youngest, who's turning 10 next week, he looked up the dangers of alcohol on the internet like a year ago, 2 years ago actually. And he came up to me and he said, Mom, you know, I see you drink wine again, and you know that it causes cancer. He read me all those things that he read on the internet. So even he was 8 at that time, they know and they think about it, and all they want for you is to be happy. And they don't see you happy hungover. They don't see you happy when you can barely walk out of bed, or, you know, have no energy to go to the park, or you miss play dates, or you don't go to school functions because you're too hungover. Like all those things, I miss so much with them because of it. And that's time you don't get that time back. And that's, you know, my passion. And I'm really so passionate about just helping others get out of this hole and giving kids their moms back too.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think in your case and mine, the relationship with our kids has completely transformed since we quit drinking. So they've seen it, and you've seen it from the other side, and what a gift it is for the kids to get their mums, their dads back. It's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely. I think it's, you know, it's the best gift you give yourself, because I feel it, you know, it feels it steals your self-esteem. It steals your self-trust, your self-belief. It really keeps you small, and you're not seeing, you feel that substance holding you down. But once you give yourself that gift of stopping, then yes, like you said, your children, anybody really that is around you, your friends, your family, but mostly your children, they will, it's such a gift to them. It's my sons now, when I come home, they all gather around me all the time now. It's almost like they're trying to make up for the time that they lost. And it's so heartwarming to see when, your 17-year-old and your 14-year-old, they sit next to you on the couch on a Friday night. Like, what teenagers do that, right?
Right, yeah.
But it's, in the past, ever since they were born and more aware, like, they would never want to be around me when I came home.
Yeah,
never.
My story mirrors that completely. And my son,
right.
Friday, in fact, last night, he came down, sat on the couch next to me, watched TV together.
Yeah.
When I was drinking wine, he would have just stayed in his bedroom.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, because they know how you change. Like my 9-year-old says, "Mommy, you were not the same. You turned into a different person. That wasn't the mom I like." And I heard those messages from all 3 children for decades, and I wouldn't change anything. And that's the hard part, And I feel what I tell my clients now is that are in the same situation that I was in is, we can always have a goal and we can manage to not drink for 2 weeks or even a month, but it's not so much about reaching the goal. It's really about digging deep and changing your belief system around the drink, changing your unconscious mind, because that's what we are programmed with, that's what runs us. And by bringing all those thoughts and feelings into awareness and then changing it, that's the key to long-term change. And it doesn't happen overnight, and there is no magic pill. It's not going to go away. Like, years and decades of drinking are not going to be erased in 2 weeks. But if you just have to start at one point. Nobody has to, but if you feel in your heart that this is no longer the way that you can go on, and that alcohol is hurting you more than it's healing you, then you have to make this decision to just stop. And then there's help. There's so much help out there now. Thank God. I found you. I found Annie's book that has a lot of education, and you don't have to live in that painful state. And alcohol doesn't have to control you. You can totally take your power back. And that's the beautiful thing about that.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, there's so many people out there offering help, support. There's Facebook groups and so much.
Yeah.
And even on your website, you've got an awesome ebook for women who drink, like a guide to quitting drinking, which people can download free. I'll put the website on the video as well, so people can go and download that if they want to. So there's just so much that people can do in terms of support. And I must admit, the one-to-one coaching, I do some of that as well, and obviously you do it. I think that does work really well for people who are committed to making a change and they're really serious about wanting to change. But I think if somebody's kind of half-hearted about it, I think they need to be ready to actually take a bit of a leap forward, a bit of a jump into the unknown before committing, because they have to make themselves accountable when they work with a coach.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's really a mindset, and you have to really want it. We as coaches, we want it already for you, but we can't want it more than you. So that's what I tell my clients. I have a few clients that say, well, let's try for 14 days, and I think that's good. It's a start. For me, it's really better a start than not starting at all, because of fear that you will not ever in your life drink again. I don't say personally that I don't ever drink again, because I don't know what happens. But what I do know, though, that I know so much about the substance that why would I want that? Why would I want to put that in my body again? It's like I don't like certain foods. I just don't eat certain foods. So that's, it really becomes a lifestyle choice to me. You know, that's really what it is.
Right.
It's a decision. I'm a fitness instructor. You know, I teach fitness, and I live a healthy lifestyle, and I like to be aligned or living in line with my values, which is healthy. And so alcohol is ethanol. Why would I put that in my body? And so for my clients, you know, we go day by day, and it works really, but they do have a commitment, a really commitment. They would like to change, and they like a different lifestyle for themselves. And for some, we do day by day. Some are already so set that, you know, we are now on month 2, month 3. And it's really, yeah, it is the support. We have daily check-ins. We have 3 times a week reflection work, a little bit of education, and then just the daily accountability that helps. And also that there is somebody that has been through it. And you know, I can so relate to how they feel and what they're going through. And it helps that I've been through all this to now tell them there is a way out, and how to do it, basically, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the best coaches are the coaches who've actually been there, they've lived it, they've come out the other side, and they can share the things that worked for them, the things that didn't work for them, and so on.
Absolutely.
So if anyone wants to talk to you about coaching, I assume they can just go to your website and connect with you that way, can they?
Yeah, that would be a great way. My website, and there's actually a button. It's a free discovery call where they can click, and then they can book a free 30-minute call with me. And it's a good way to really see each other face to face, and to see, you know, if you're fit, and to hear a little bit about their story, and discuss if one-on-one coaching is what they would like to do. Yeah, so that's a great way to do that.
Oh, perfect. Well, yeah, I'll make sure that the website's shown on the screen and in the description of the video. So if anyone wants to do that, but that's awesome. Your story is really powerful. And I think it's so amazing that you've gone from where you were in a pretty dark place to turning your life around and becoming a sobriety coach and helping other people. I think it's amazing.
Thank you, Simon.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me, Tina. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. So are you, Simon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.